If man were to find life on Mars, how should we relate to the beings there? Just over 100 years ago, was the so-called Age of Exploration. Countries which could, fitted their ships with weapons and cutthroat warriors, and they set out to explore lands across the oceans. They discovered great civilizations and seized the wealth that these people had legitimately gathered over centuries. The voyages of exploration became voyages of piracy, and still later, the natives of these new lands lost even their lands, when the conquerors established colonies. In the process, whole peoples were wiped out. If life is found on Mars, unless the explorers are controlled, there is a likelihood that what happened to those unfortunate societies on Earth will happen to the Martians also. The first explorers on Mars should apply the Earth laws of ownership to the Martians. The whole planet belongs to them. We should not attempt to remove anything from the planet unless in fair trade. We should not get involved in any way and let the Martians run their planet their way. Our interest should be to develop friendship with the beings of Mars, and perhaps of learning something from them, and in exchange teaching them what we know. On no account should we assume that ours is a superior system and try to impose it on them. The European explorers have brought ruin to many systems in our planet. Economic systems which took centuries to evolve were replaced by force. Cultures were destroyed and new and strange religions introduced, forever splitting the unity of the people. An example is the fact that few people starved in India, except through voluntary fasting, until the British colonized that great land and replaced their economic system with one contrived by themselves, which was introduced mainly to collect taxes for the British government. If we can just understand and appreciate the Martian culture, as being as good as ours, it would be wonderful. In addition, perhaps we could think of some joint ventures which would be beneficial to both, like the wiping out of diseases or poverty. Perhaps there might be some joint projects to exploit the resources of some uninhabited planet or moon. Then again, we have to be careful here, because the planet chosen may have life forms by other definitions than our own. The idea is that we must learn to leave other people alone to their own evolution. Earthmen should not assume that we know everything and set about setting their world straight. We must be prepared to accept that perhaps the Martians will be a more evolved society than us. We must be prepared to learn from them. Things may not be what they seem. For example, the serious students of spiritualism have found that the so-called primitive aborigines of Australia are spiritually thousands of years ahead of the rest of the human race. They actually communicate with the forces of nature as if this is a routine thing. There is much that this unhappy, materialistic world can learn from them, yet the other Australians are trying to civilize them, whatever that means. The same must not happen when we meet the Martians.